when we have unhealed wounds, there's a tendency for us to react quickly and harshly towards the ones that we are judging. So I want to read to you Hebrews 12:15. It says this, "See to it that no one falls short of the grace of God, that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many." See to it that no one, that's a command, no one falls short of grace. He's asking us to be filled with grace towards other people. Because if you don't, if you let those judgments take root in you, what happens is that root grows and out comes bitter fruit. And that bitter fruit, it looks like anger. It looks like judgment. It looks like offense. We're easily offended at everything. We have a sinful response to the judgment. If you judge your parents for being unfair, maybe there was abuse in the home, maybe decisions that were made, you weren't thought about, what you thought didn't matter, and you grew up thinking with a judgment, my parents were just not fair, then what your sinful response is to judge everybody. Nobody's fair. My boss, look what they did to me. They're not fair. Or people that we're in relationship with, they didn't do this, or they didn't do that, or they didn't acknowledge me for this, so they're unfair. They don't treat me right. The world, everybody is unfair. Even God is unfair. He didn't come through to me when I asked for him to. So he's unfair. And so from that one root of judgment of our parents are unfair grew this fruit of nobody is fair. We have things that have happened to us. We've had physical abuse that tell us there must be something wrong with us if we were treated this way. If we have lack of love, lack of affection, that tells us we were unlovable and not worthy. Harmful things said to us that we can't do anything right. We're not good enough. Over time, they take root in us, and we believe them to be true. And so the fruit of that is anger, lashing out, being angry quickly at something, like having a very quick response of anger, being judgmental of others. We're easily offended, and we often judge others. We judge others just simply because if we can make them look bad, sound bad, feel bad, then we don't look as bad. It makes us feel a little better for a minute. If I can make you look worse than me. You've all heard that saying, wounded people, hurting people hurt others, right? That's where it comes from. Something as simple as getting angry. Something as simple as getting angry when someone pulls in front of you when you're going down the freeway. Have you had that happen? Going down the freeway and, man, someone pulls right out in front of you, you have to slam on your brakes. And what do? Like some of us, we are really angry about that. Like you can feel your face getting red. You're calling that person not very nice names. You are leaning on your horn. And you're yelling at them. And you're calling them names. And you probably do that all the way to your destination. I don't know what was wrong with that stupid guy. Darting out in front of me like that. Making me slam. I almost had an accident. And we're just so angry. And we have this just huge response to it. Why? Like why is that where we go? Like we don't even go to the place of maybe it's a new driver and they got nervous and they just cut in front, or I'm kind of in that mode because we have a new driver in our house. And or like we drive in the car going, oh, I'm sorry. To people we don't know. Are they in a hurry? Are they late? And they have to be someplace that's really important. Maybe they'll lose their job if they don't get there right away. Maybe there's an emergency in the family. We don't even think of any of those things. We're just mad. They cut us off. They got in our way. So let's take it deeper. Why the strong reaction? Why don't we think it through and it be about other things? Could it be that just that simple act of someone pulling out in front of us makes us feel invisible? Makes us feel like we don't matter? We're not important? That you can just act like I'm not even there on the road? If that's the case, where does that come from? Who made you feel like you were invisible? Who made you feel like your opinions didn't matter? You have to start there. That's where the judgment started. That's where the root started and began to grow. You were forced to make your way in the world earlier than maybe you were really ready to. And you have judgments, just, that you had to do that. Like, I wasn't ready, but I had to make my way in the world. And so then you judge other people who struggle to find their way. Well, I did it. I had to do it. And we judge others that are really struggling with that. If you were abused, you may even judge God for not being there for you, for not rescuing you. So you have a simple response to God. I'm mad at you, God. You didn't do anything about that. You didn't help me. And then we become sometimes exactly like the ones that we judged. Unintentionally, but we do. I want to read Romans 2:1-4. You therefore have no excuse, you who pass judgment on someone else. For at whatever point you judge another, you are condemning yourself, because you who pass judgment do the same things. Now we know that God's judgment against those who do such things is based on truth. So when you, a mere human being, pass judgment on them, and yet you do the same things, do you think you will escape God's judgment? Or do you show contempt for the riches of his kindness, forbearance, and patience, not realizing that God's kindness is intended to lead you to repentance? God says there's a reason why I'm patient. I'm patient. I show grace and mercy for a period of time because I want to bring you to repentance in that area. And so we become like the one that we have judged. If you grew up in a home where there was alcohol abuse, and you may think, I am never going to do that. That will never be my life. And yet you find in your adult, when you need to escape, and life is difficult and hard, that's exactly what you go back to, because that's what you learned. You learned that's how you cope. And so you pick that up. So you're judging a family member, your parent, who, because that is the way they handled their stress, it caused them to be unavailable for you. So you judge them, but then you become just like that. That becomes your escape. And so we can do that in many areas. We learn it, we do it, and even though there is a judgment there, we can also tempt others by our judgment. Most of the time, people you judge have no idea that they have upset you. They have no idea. They have no idea that they have hurt and offended you. And oftentimes, there's two reasons. One is that there probably wasn't anything for you to be offended about in the first place, because we're easily offended when we have a wound, right? So it's not a justified offense. Either that or that person has a wound and they don't know that they're hurting you because of their wound. So either way, it's a judgment that we shouldn't have. And so they don't even know. They don't even know. But when you then have a reaction to it, so they offend you, they hurt your feelings, and you might have a reaction of, I'm going to pull you aside, I'm going to tell you what. Call them on the phone. You did this and no, you hurt my feelings and you did this and you did that. So we get angry with them. We let them know how we feel. Or maybe we take the other approach and we just ignore them. I'm not going to have anything to do with you. You are not my friend anymore. You are not in my life anymore. And we avoid them altogether. Or maybe we just go talk to other people about them. Do you know what they did? We let other people know how awful that they are. So then they are tempted to sin by their responses back to you, which is to take up offense against you. Do you see the cycle? You judge, you take the offense, you pass it on to someone else, and then you tempt them to sin and pass it on again. And it just keeps going. So we tempt others to sin. I had a situation, I'm going to tell a story about myself. I had a family member who, over a period of years, had done a lot of hurtful things. I mean, a lot of really hurtful things to our family. And so there came a point where I said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done having you in our life. You are dead to me. No more. And so I just had that attitude about it. I was judgmental about it. I was judgmental about the things that were done. I was angry about what they had done. I didn't want to have anything to do with them. So we had a family event. I think it was a wedding. And so this person who had no idea that they were offending me, no idea that their actions were hurting our family. And they didn't because of their wounds and their deep hurts. They had no idea that they were actually leaving a hurricane behind them everywhere they went. Just a mess. Every life they interacted with, they just left a mess and had no idea that they were doing that. And so for this person, just wanted to have a nice little chat with me. But remember, I said no. And so I did everything to avoid this person. Everything. This person really worked hard trying to connect with me. I was not having it. And so what I did by my response and my reaction is I tempted them to sin. So they now have an opinion about me and what an awful person I am and how I won't even talk to them and what's wrong with me and on and on and on. And that was certainly said to a lot of different people for a lot of years. Until I had to find where that was coming from, my wounds, my place, have healing in that. And I had to go and apologize for causing that person to sin. Not to receive an apology from them for what they had done. Like I had to go and say, I'm sorry for my sinful response and for causing you to sin. And I apologized for that. And I said, I'm so sorry that I did that. I was hurt. I was wounded. But I should have never responded to you in that way. I should have never ignored you in that way. And so I asked that you would forgive me for that. And so that person called me on the phone in tears and said, I never knew what I did all these years. I never have known what I did. And so, forgive me. Tell me what I did. And I chose in that moment not to because it wasn't about that. It wasn't about what they did. It was about me making it right with that person. And by my doing that, that enabled them. It cleared them to be able to hear from the Lord. It cleared them to be able to contemplate and think, why do I leave a mess in every relationship? Why is this what it looks like? And that, for all of those years, that had never been a thought until after I did that.
Hello, I hope we've added value to your life today. Would you take a moment to subscribe so that you don't miss any live streams? And then the other thing I want to let you know is share this with a friend. And just remember, every Sunday, you can be with us live. Thanks for sharing this moment.